Gojo's limitless technique, particularly his infinity, makes him invincible to all physical attacks. Except for Gege's pen, of course. Anyway, after researching for weeks, I found not one but 13 unique curse techniques and curse tools that can easily counter Gojo's infinity. For example, the Prison Realm. The Prison Realm, forged from the final remains of the Buddhist monk Genshin, is no ordinary curse tool. It is a powerful, living barrier that can literally seal anything, completely nullify any curse technique within its reach. Unlike traditional attacks that infinity effortlessly repels, the Prison Realm bypasses infinity entirely by enveloping Gojo in a dimension beyond physical space, as seen in the Shibuya arc when Kenjaku sealed Gojo, despite his infinity being active. However, despite being a really powerful curse tool, the Prison Realm does have a huge weakness, as it requires the target to be within a 4-meter radius and be distracted for a full minute, which can be a bit difficult to pull off, but it still remains an effective counter to Gojo's infinity. Now, this was just the first of the 13 counters to Gojo's infinity we will cover in this video, and the 13th ability is extremely overpowered. Let's continue with the Black Rope. The Black Rope is a rare curse tool and is known for its ability to disrupt and nullify other curse techniques, with Tengen even stating it could cancel out the Prison Realm. It was meticulously woven by Miguel's clan of sorcerers in Africa and was first introduced in the Jujutsu Kaisen movie Zero. The Black Rope was so deadly that when Miguel first used it on Gojo, it easily bypassed Gojo's infinity by interfering with Gojo's cursed energy flow, rendering his defense useless. However, Miguel wasn't strong enough to fully utilize its potential, allowing Gojo to effortlessly destroy the strands, leaving the Black Rope ineffective. All in all, the Black Rope is an elite curse tool, and in the hands of a powerful sorcerer, it would be incredibly overpowered, but not as overpowered as the Inverted Spear of Heaven. The Inverted Spear of Heaven is a special great tool which was wielded by Toji Fushiguro and was introduced way back in the Hidden Inventory arc. It is an extremely powerful curse tool that is capable of effortlessly nullifying any and all curse techniques in a pattern similar to the Black Rope, but it does it way better. The spear emits a type of foreign cursed energy that directly counters and neutralizes the target's natural cursed energy. This means that a cursed technique like Gojo's Infinity, which heavily relies on Gojo's cursed energy for defense, is left ineffective. The spear's energy disrupts the very foundation of his technique, giving the spear the chance to destroy both the target's curse technique and body as well. This becomes clear in Gojo's fight against Toji, where Toji effortlessly killed him. Yes, I know, Gojo was inexperienced and greatly weakened, but it just shows how powerful the cursed tool is. Another thing to mention is that Toji can make the spear even more deadly by using it with a chain of 1,000 miles, allowing it to reach any angle. Unfortunately, not even that could save him from being turned into the iPhone logo. Moving on to Domain Amplification. Domain Amplification is an anti-domain technique that surrounds the user in a thin, veil-like domain to neutralize any opposing curse techniques or domain expansions they encounter. By wrapping themselves in a domain infused with a curse technique, the user can absorb and negate an opponent's curse technique on contact. This ensures that an attack using domain amplification will always land, regardless of the opponent's abilities. The Shibuya arc introduced us to this technique when Jogo and Hanami confronted Gojo. Although they did manage to break through Gojo's infinity, they were still easily overwhelmed by his cursed energy. However, in chapter 227 of the manga, we see an elite sorcerer like Sukuna use domain amplification to bypass infinity with ease. Although this technique can be highly effective against Gojo's infinity, the user is at a huge disadvantage. They are unable to employ their own curse technique, limiting them to hand-to-hand combat. And well, this is Gojo we are talking about. He's literally good at everything, but not good enough to counter these. Domain expansion is the pinnacle of Jujutsu. It is so rare that there are only a total of 13 domain expansions throughout the entire series. When trapped in a domain, the opponent is subjected to a technique called Sure Hit technique. This technique allows the user's attack to always hit the target. However, there are a total of 3 domains that have insane sure hit techniques that could easily bypass Gojo's infinity and potentially kill Gojo in the process. For example, Dagon's Horizon of the Captivating Skanda. This domain channels a sure hit attack by summoning fish-like shikigamis that automatically strike their target. The fish appear instantaneously from the target's perspective, making them nearly impossible to block. The shikigami don't exist until they hit the target, instantly devouring their flesh. This domain is the perfect counter to Gojo's infinity, as the attacks spawn directly at the target's body, rendering infinity useless. However, a much more powerful domain would be Higurama's Deadly Sentencing domain. This domain manifests as a small courtroom where the rules of the domain impose a trial on the target. The trial, overseen by a Shikigami named Judgeman, determines the target's guilt based on evidence, leading to one of two outcomes: confiscation or death penalty. If found guilty, confiscation removes the target's curse technique throughout the fight, leaving them defenseless. And if the target is found guilty of a severe crime, the death penalty is applied. This allows Higuruma to execute them with a powerful weapon known as the Executioner's Sword, which is capable of cutting through any curse technique, such as Gojo's Infinity, killing the target in a single cut. Although Higurama's domain is a great counter to Gojo's Infinity, Sukuna's domain Malevolent Shrine is on a whole new level. This domain is extremely overpowered, as it allows Sukuna to make use of his two strongest slicing attacks, Cleave and Dismantle, simultaneously. With these, he easily can slice through anything or anyone, shredding his targets with unmatched precision. Even Gojo's Infinity is rendered useless within this domain, as shown in chapter 226 of the manga, when Sukuna used his domain to effortlessly bypass Gojo's Infinity, damaging him in the process. What makes this domain even crazier is that it doesn't have a barrier. This means that Sukuna can increase the range of his attacks over 200 meters, destroying anyone and anything within his domain. All in all, this domain is a very powerful counter to Gojo's Infinity. 7 counter abilities down. And next is Love Rendezvous. This curse technique is owned by Kirara Hoshi. It assigns 5 stars from the Southern Cross constellation, Imai, a Crux, Mimosa, Ginan, and Gakrux, to mark targets through their cursed energy, in simple terms. This technique is a great counter to Gojo's Infinity, as it directly manipulates cursed energy. With this cursed technique, Kirara can control the movement of both sorcerers and Shikigami, enforcing a specific star sequence. Although Gojo's Infinity creates an impenetrable barrier, it doesn't prevent the manipulation of cursed energy itself. Kirara's precise control in marking and attracting objects or opponents would allow her to maneuver around or through Gojo's Infinity. This makes Love Rendezvous a great counter to Gojo's ability. Next is Sky Manipulation. This curse technique is used by Takako Uro, a 1000-year sorcerer. As the name implies, this technique allows Takako to control the sky, transforming it into a tangible surface she can manipulate. Much like how a lens distorts light, Takako uses this surface to warp space, distorting shapes and altering trajectories with precision. But how would it counter Gojo's Infinity? Well, Gojo's Infinity creates an unbreakable barrier by controlling space itself, making it nearly impossible to touch him. However, Takako's ability to manipulate space lets her bypass this barrier by distorting the dimensions around Gojo. Takako's technique can easily slip through his defenses, making it a powerful counter to Gojo's Infinity. Let's move to another insane curse technique, which is Nobara's Straw Doll technique. But before we do, if you're having a great time so far and want to be entered in our video shoutout giveaway, simply subscribe, then comment, "I subbed," and you will be entered. This shoutout giveaway goes to the Ultimate Lifeform _1. Thanks for being part of the family. Let's get back to the next insane technique. This technique is a very unique and powerful one, as it allows Nobara to use a straw doll as her focal point, driving needles and hammering nails into it. The real magic happens when she binds the target's cursed energy to the doll, allowing any attack she inflicts on the doll to transfer directly to the target, causing harm from a distance. Additionally, Nobara can use the target's belongings to enhance the technique, making the damage even more significant. This makes her curse technique a deadly counter to Gojo's Infinity, as it doesn't require physical contact, allowing all her attacks to harm Gojo and could potentially kill him in the process. Next is Hana Kurusu's Technique Extinguishment. This curse technique gives Hana the power to nullify any and all curse techniques, including formidable barriers and special grade objects like the prison round. What sets it apart is the addition of Jacob's Ladder, which amplifies her ability, allowing Hana to summon a 4-winged trumpet and a vast circle of light featuring a heptagram and crosses. When she sounds the trumpet, a colossal pillar of light descends from the circle. It extinguishes any curse technique it touches, making it an exceptional counter to Gojo's Infinity. Before we cover the most overpowered technique on this list, let's quickly cover the most insane one. It is called the 10 Shadows technique, and it allows the user to summon extremely powerful Shikigamis like the Piercing Ox, Round Deer, and Nue. However, the strongest of them all is the General Mahoraga. Thanks to the rudder on its head, Mahoraga can adapt to any and all phenomena. This was evident in Sukuna's battle against Gojo, where Mahoraga adapted to Gojo's domain expansion, Unlimited Void, and even Infinity, which allowed Mahoraga to damage Gojo. Several chapters later, Sukuna managed to use Mahoraga's adaptability to perform a devastating attack known as the World Cutting Slash. This attack was stated to be capable of cutting through space, and with it, Sukuna was able to bypass Gojo's infinity, ending their battle immediately. And now let's cover the most overpowered curse technique you all have been waiting for, Fumihiko Takaba's curse technique Comedian. This technique allows Takaba to basically manipulate reality by making jokes. Crazy, right? But what makes this curse technique even more insane is the fact that it can conjure objects from nothing, heal wounds without reverse curse technique, nullify damage, and even simulate imaginary scenarios. This is the perfect counter to Gojo's ability, as Takaba could literally touch Gojo, or deactivate his infinity if he finds it funny. However, there's a catch, as Comedian only works if Takaba is confident in his humor, meaning if he doubts his ability to be funny, the technique deactivates, leaving him wide open to attack. Overall, this technique is extremely overpowered, and if it were in the hands of a more intelligent sorcerer, it would easily be the strongest ability in the entire Jujutsu Kaisen universe. Now, those were some crazy counters to Gojo's infinity, but if you want to see something even crazier, then click on this video where we talk about 21 of the craziest differences between the Jujutsu Kaisen anime and manga. Go on and click it!